Good morning. My name is Don MEDINA, president of NorCal Voyagers Club. This is our video on how to change a rear tire on a Voyager, and if you have a trailer hitch, which I have a Marvelous trailer hitch on my bike. We'll be taking all those apart. These are the tools and the products that I'll be using today when we do this. This is tire lube, which you can purchase or get from your tire shop, your local tire shop. This is Amsoil grease that I'll be using on the splines. But these are the tools. These are the rim savers. As you can see, I have a brand new packet I haven't used. You purchase them from Kawasaki. This is my bead breaker here. You'll see that in action. This is the Nomar tire iron with Teflon tip. You have the yellow thing, the tire irons, sockets, electric ratchets, torque wrench, sockets for the axles. We have the lid off. First thing I'm going to do is disconnect those wires. These are the turn light wires and tail light wires. There's a little lever here. It's a pin. If you just squeeze down, here's this tang, you just push down and slide it off. Always lube it. Pull out the pin. That releases the lock. And you lift your saddlebag. I put the lid back on. There. We have removed the saddlebag. Alright, here we are. We're removing the trailer hitch right now. We're going to remove the mounting bolts for the front on the Marvellas and both of these stabilizing bolts. And we have them on either side. So I'll start with these. I'm using my little impacts. Now we're removing the fender. There are 3 bolts on this side. I've removed the 3 bolts on the other side. The thing you'll notice about these bolts, they're all the same length. If you have some that are longer than the others, someone's changed them, do not worry. So there we have the 3 bolts off. I have an extra light on my fender, so I just have to unplug that. The fender's coming off. I disconnect the wires. That is it for the fender. We take the 2 mounting bolts off the trailer hitch. We had already taken these 2 back. You see how it just fell down? To make it come out easy, you just pull back on these arms. And everything is out. We're going to remove these 2 mounting bolts on both of the mufflers. It's going to be identical on both sides. These are the 2 bolts that I took off from the front of the trailer hitch mount. So we'll do that, and all we have to do is move the mufflers down just a couple of inches. See how that just does that? I leave the bolts in place so I don't lose them. Here we are, we're removing the rear tire now. 3 or 4 steps. We're going to remove the cotter pin or J-clip, whatever you have on your motorcycle. Side cutters are easy, you saw how that was. Then we have to remove this stay for the caliper bracket, and we're going to remove the caliper bolts. First thing I'm going to do is remove the Allen bolts that hold the caliper. 8mm Allen wrench. Remove. Now see, it rocks back and forth. All you have to do is with your hands is tilt it back and forth, and you'll move the brake pads or the piston back into its cylinder, and it slides right off. There, you just move it off to the side. Okay, now we're removing the stay bolt. It's a 19mm socket. Out of the way. So now all we have is the axle bolt. A 17mm wrench on this left side, right here. And I think it was a 28mm socket. See, everything moves now. Wheel's going to be pretty free. What I do is now rubber mallet to start the axle. Now I've driven the axle out. You just slide it out like this, and the wheels stay in place. You just rock it back and forth. You shouldn't have to use any big hammers. If you are, there's something wrong. After pulling the axle out of the other side, this caliper stay, will fall on the ground by itself. Do not worry. It goes like this. See the indentations? That's where the Allen bolt seats. You'll find a spacer. The small part of the spacer goes inside the wheel. The large lip goes up against the caliper stay. The wheel's still attached to the driveline. All we have to do, everything is removed. You just rock it. Try this position. This is going to work. I was able to get leverage, slide it off the splines, and just roll it back. See, these are the splines that held it on. Alright, what we're doing right now is we're checking the wheel bearings. Sometimes people don't realize that a bad wheel bearing can give you a head shake. So you just turn, this one feels real nice and smooth. Try to feel some side to side play. That's one bearing. Now you have another bearing on this side. Same thing, all these feel good. I changed these bearings 70,000 miles ago at 100,000 miles, so they're good. I have another 30,000. This, when you overload your bike, this is where you're going to have the problems. That's the weakest link. On the forum, people are always talking about their tires or their motorcycle makes noise when they lean over in a turn. The reason is this little piece right here. As they wear, if you look real closely, it's a lip. And this lip is what makes your noise when you lean it over. When you go straight up and down, there's no lip. Alright, we're valve stem remover. We're going to remove the valve core. Hold your fingers over it so it doesn't fly away. I got it. Okay, this is the base that goes underneath the rim. It stands up like that. You put the piece of hardwood right underneath where the rim would rest, and then this just slides up, and now you've got the complete tool. Is that not ingenious? I'm ready to break the bead. I have my portable bead breaker. This is the bottom part of it. It comes with a little piece of hardwood you put underneath your rim. Next, it's slotted so it'll go with different size wheels. If you have real big wheels or small ones like the Voyager, then all you have to do is just press down. When the bead breaks, you're going to hear a whoosh. It's kind of one of the whooshes. Did you hear that? See, now it's broken. As much effort I had to put into that, you would have never done it without this tool. All we have to do now is turn it over. So we did the hard side first, which is the caliper. Side was facing down, now we're facing up. Did you hear that? So now we've got the bead broke. Just before we were breaking the bead on the ground. Now you have two choices. You can either dismount the tire on the ground or do what I did, get a quarter barrel, put 5/8 inch heater hose around the top to protect it. Then you lie the wheel up on top like this. Now for old guys, we don't have to bend over. I use the rotor as a stake when I'm taking the tire apart. That's why I have it up like this. But also while we have it here, you can see this rotor has 170,000 miles on it. I'm a front brake user, so this isn't bad. It's getting close. So, but you can look at it. There's lip on it. It's pretty smooth. I use the EBC 85, not the HH, just the 85. I use the HH on the front. I'm a front brake user, so I only get about 20,000 miles out of front brakes, 80,000 miles out of rear. Okay, I'm spraying tire lube that we saw when I first showed you all the tools I was going to use. Do not be shy with it. Set it off to the side because sometimes they fall inside the wheel and it's a son of a gun. It makes you want to cry. I put 3 of them close together, and the last one I put a little further away because I'm going to take a larger bite. So there's what these are. Okay, I'm using the first one. I come in underneath the lip. Did you hear it? I'll do it again. You can hear it when it goes in. You pull up like that. Make sure you have this cocked. See, that's what I'm using it for. Now I'm free to work. It's nice to have 3 tire irons because that way you can work the tire. Makes it look easy, doesn't it? See, this is why I was able to take that 4th one and move it all the way around. So now we've got the easy part of the tire done, which is the top bead. Reason for the cardboard, you hear all the drops on the ground, keeps your garage floor clean. We've lost a few of these, hence the reason for the cable. Okay, now this is going to be the harder one. The lower bead is always a tougher one, it makes you work. Again, did you hear it pop? It went right in. There we go. We got her. So now we're going to get another bite. Okay. Sometimes you only need a little bit. And you can muscle it off, which I did. Alright, we've removed the tire. I want you to look at this bead. You see how it wasn't damaged? I installed it myself and I've removed it, as you've seen. You see, it's nice. This will seal. Even with this rim, you see that it's got some dark spots on it, but it's not really, there's not a lot of heavy duty residue. If you had big chunks, then you worry. Now this is real important. Look at this rim. Look at how nice and clean. 170,000 miles, 9 years old. Moisture in the air is what gets these rims to rust in your car or your motorcycle. That's why a lot of people like Costco are using this new air. It's moistureless. You just save your rims. It's important. If you have your own air compressor, use it and drain it all the time. Dry air means good tire performance. All right, tire rotation. We're ready to mount this tire on here. You see the arrow? See the rotor. The rotor goes to the right. That means this wheel is rotating clockwise. Hence, the arrow is clockwise, so it will go like this. Now, you're looking at this dot. The dot is to go where the valve stem is. Weight-wise, that's supposed to give you a 0 balance. And a lot of times, you don't have to put any weights on these wheels. So, that's the way it's going to be, in theory. We'll see at the end of this if we've been able to do that. Right here, we're looking at, you'll see 4 digits, 3110. That's the 31th week of the 10th year. So this tire was made in August of 2010. Always look to see what age your tire is when you buy it new. 1 year is not bad for me because I use them I'll wear it out in a year. But if you don't wear your tires out for 4 or 5 years, this could be a problem, because tire safety, 5 years, the carcass is dead. So do not believe what people tell you. 5 years, they're done. It might have good tread, but the rubber has started to deteriorate. The stickers. If you do them now, it's much easier than if you wait until you put air in it. And there's a reason I know that, is I tried that. So we'll remove these stickers. Now, maybe before you start, you double check to make sure you got the right size. See, this is an MV85B15. That's what the Voyager uses in Elite 3. Tire bead, lube, lube, lube. That's all I can tell you is lube, lube, lube.
Do I care if it gets inside?
No, you don't mind. It's going to dry nice. Now remember the dot. I almost forgot the dot. So you see how I wedged it part way in here? I'm looking for the tool. This is the yellow thing. Nomar, N-O-M-A-R. That's the company that sells this. And it locks the tire so that it does not move.
If I don't have that, can I use a rubber mallet?
You can, but you're going to find that you're going to want one of these. What we've accomplished with this yellow thing, it's locking the tire in place. The bead, not the tire, the bead. See, the bead has gone over the side of the rim. You see this? As we start to work the tire over the side of the rim, the bead over, this tends to walk around on you. So now we've locked it and we don't have to worry about it. All we have to worry about is getting the tire over the bead. And so that's what we're going to do now. I'm putting my little rim savers in. And this is where we're going to talk to each other. All right, see, now we've got the yellow thing there taking care of us. See how it just locks in place? We don't have to worry about it. So you just walk it, taking small bites. Now that it gets harder, I'm going to try to slip this in. You saw me struggle on the other side. This side should be easier. We've got the dot lined up with the valve. Now I'm just going to lubricate, 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 lubricate. Lock the tire again. Make sure I have the dot. You're always juggling. Well, so now we have it locked. By hand, you go as far as you can. Then our rim protectors. Start putting them in. A little while ago, I had to fish one out from the other side of the wheel. I hadn't had that happen in a long time. So this is the reason that you have these attached with a string or a cord. We're starting to put the other side on. You're going to see. They're going to work you all the time. Be patient. Today I'm getting a little impatient because I'm in front of the camera, so I'm actually making it harder on myself. But you see, she'll just walk in. You see how nice it is to have that yellow thing? I don't have to worry about the tire walking on me. It locks it really nice. With this Nomar tire iron, you don't need rim protectors because the end has a Teflon pad on it to keep them from marring your rims. See, it's replaceable. It's just a son of a gun to get it. Okay, we've got the tire on. We've got the dot lined up. Look at that, did a pretty good job on that. Yeah, everything's a mess, do not worry. That's why you have water and soap when you're done. All right, we're going to put air in the tire. And let's see how she does. No stem, leave it open. Didn't take. Tire lube also seals, helps. I have a very small compressor, so I have a real short window. Sometimes saw that it didn't take a whole lot of air to get it seated, all because of tire lube. Remember, what we're putting in is hot air. So I'm going to put in what they recommend. I think it's 40 pounds on an E3. But tomorrow morning when I check it, it's going to be like 36 or 37 because the air I'm using is hot. Remember that. So recheck it the day after and refill it when it's cold. You should never have to fill a tire more than 60 pounds to get it to seat. If it's not seating, stop, let the air out, and re-lube the bead, both sides, thoroughly, like I did, where it's running off there, and it'll come right on. The splines here on the wheel, you notice how they're just nice and rectangular. They're not pointed, they're not sharp, they're not knife edged, they're nothing. It doesn't even look like it's been on there except for it's dirty. This is what you want them to look like. This is what they will look like if you lube them every time you change your tire. This tire was 25,000 miles. It's the only time it's been lubed in that 25,000 miles when I replaced the tire last time. This is what the teeth should look like. Look at that. 170,000 miles. It's always been lubed every time I change the rear tire. Use good grease. I showed you that AMSOIL lithium grease, full synthetic. It's expensive as all get out, but this is the type of wear you're going to get out of your motorcycle. This is the old stuff that was sitting in there after 25,000 miles. Here's a spacer. You make sure you always have that in there. Now, look at this. Always lube these real good. We'll do that before we put the tire on. And then inside here, you take off these 4 bolts, take off the shock absorber mount, it'll slide back, and that's also where you grease the drive shaft. There's a sliding coupler in there that you grease it, same type of lube. That's very inexpensive if you need to replace a coupler. I've done that once because I thought I had too much slop. It was only like $20. The wheel balancer, we've got the shaft with the cones. They're adjustable. Slide it through the wheel. Come in the other side, get a nice snug fit. This one is a 3mm. Again, you can buy these online. When I bought mine 11 years ago, it was only $150. Make sure you have to have decals. American Voyager Association. NorCal, I have to get a NorCal sticker on here. You set it on here. Now this is the easy part. I didn't take any weights off. I wanted to see how close we were. And the way this works, the heavy spot will go directly to 6 o'clock. So the light spot is at 12 o'clock. Now you see some people spin it. You can, makes a good visual effect, takes longer. I just let it sit right there and it's going to tell me where the heavy spot is. It'll rock back and forth. And once it stops, this is better than spin balancing. It's much more accurate. See, there we're stopped. Now, before I add any weights to this, been cleaning it off because it's a dirty wheel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move the stem up to 12 o'clock because it was down there at 7 o'clock. And I'm going to let it go, and if it comes back to 7 o'clock, I know that's the actual heavy spot. What you can't see from the camera, but I have a weight, an old weight, right, it's almost, and I'm wondering if I take off half of that or all of it, will give me what I want. 3/4 of an ounce off, and we change the heavy spot from here. Now it's down here.
So the goal is to not have any movement no matter where you put the tire?
Exactly. We want to lube the splines. So I've got my little container of grease, Amsoil. Get it from your Amsoil dealer. It's about $14 a tube. I've had this one for 7 years. Here's what I do. I liberally, as you can see, this is good quality grease. It doesn't wash out. It doesn't smear, it doesn't splatter. So you can put it on there liberally. Your teeth will like it. Your gears will love it. See, that's all it takes. See, there we do. We just keep putting grease on it. You can do what you wish, but sometimes more is better if you have good quality grease. Inexpensive grease, you can't do it like this. You have to put on a thin coat, and it's going to wash out, and then you're going to have problems. So spend the money. There, we're ready for that. Now we're going to put the wheel on. What I've done is I've got a little block of wood, put it underneath here, and just roll the tire up onto the block of wood. There it is. As you can see, I've lubed the axle. Helps keep the rust off. I have a little rust on here. So we're going to slide it through right now. See, so she's in there. All you do is you wiggle your tire. With a knee, you compress this muffler down a little bit. You can't go all the way because you have this. You have the spacer, so now we have to get the two spacers. Remember the spacer and the caliper bracket. So I've come too far. Okay. So now we're putting in the spacer. Remember, it goes in like this. The washered end goes to the outside. Slide it in. Now we have the spacer in. Now we have the caliper bracket. I'm going to reach in here. There you go. All right, now what I have to do is just push in the axle. There, now we're in. We've got everything in there. So what we do now is we torque the rear axle to 80 foot-pounds. Before I do this, I want to clean off that rotor. We're using starting fluid. I love to use starting fluid. It cleans all grease, leaves everything dry. You can't smoke, no open flames. You're not going to have any residue left on the rotor. Greatest thing. Cleaning parts, good, but you can't smoke it. I was trying to get to the back side of this rotor. See how much we've got. Caliper back on. So since we didn't touch the brake pedal, it should just slide right on. It did. $8mm. I just got this Allen wrench. I've been using a manual one for years. This is like so much better. The 3/8 long-handled ratchet to tighten those Allen bolts up. Okay. Don't go crazy. Good tug on them. That's all they need. They don't need all this crazy stuff like some people might want. You just make a mess of everything if you do that. Again, this is a 28mm socket. Okay. Torque wrench. We're going to set it up to 80 foot-pounds. Wrench on this side to hold the axle. I can feel it getting tight now. The torque wrench will go click when it's ready. Hear it? 80 foot-pounds. We have it torqued down to 80 foot-pounds. Came out to where it was aligned just right. We're going to put it in backwards because we're going to move that long piece of that cotter pin in. There. Now we have plenty of room. We're all done with the tire. We're going to put the fender on. If you look at the tabs, there are 7 tabs, 2 on each side, 3 on the top. They're going to go over this inner fender. Now this is going to be the hard part, is to get them there, because you want to make sure all of them are over their edge. So before I do that, I have to hook up the wires that I disconnected. Red to red, and this one looks like it's black and yellow to black and yellow. That's your tail license plate light. Okay, these have dielectric grease on them from the last time, so I don't have to put any more in there in the little slot. Okay, that went on. So now we're coming up. Okay, we've got part of it on. All right, we're putting the trailer hitch back on. We did the preliminaries on the rear fender. We're getting the trailer hitch in position. All right. I just positioned the trailer hitch so that everything lines up. We have to get these brackets lined up so that the rear fender will line up. Everything was hanging, so I couldn't do it before. So I'm going to the other side and just start one bolt, and then we can put the rear fender on. Sometimes lining these Could make you talk to yourself. But it went in just the way it's supposed to. That was the top one. This middle one is giving me a headache here. There she is. The bottom one. We have everything that we're supposed to have here. Put our bracket on. Alright, here we go. We're going to tighten up the bracket. What I'm going to do first is tighten up the front with those 10mm bolts. And you want to make sure these are snug. The first time I did it, I didn't put them on snug and I lost the bolt. Do these bolts, these support bolts for the trailer hitch, it's about 40 foot-pounds is all this little electric impact goes to. Now the other one will go up to 400, but this one only goes to 40. We're doing the muffler. All you have to do, since you left all the bolts in place, just lift up the back of the muffler. You'll feel it engage. I'm lifting the muffler and putting it in place. See? Once you just slide it in there. Feel it? Now it's not going in. You just screw in the fastener, jiggle the muffler on both of the fasteners, the front and back. Get your ratchet. Do the same thing to the other side. Solid. You're ready. Now you'll know when you put these bags on, it can be a little bit of a trick. I have the cord on there, and then start to feel my way around. Make sure each one falls into its little hole. Okay, they're all there. Pull the trigger. And it did. Bag is on. Now, reach up here to get the connector. Remember, you have dielectric grease on it. It's plugged in. The bag on. We have one bag replaced. Now for those of you that are new to the Voyagers, these bags are adjustable. If you get a lot of slop, there's a star in here and you just twist it and you can lift up the bag or you can lower the bag and it'll make it solid on the mounts. That way you don't put a lot of pressure up on the hinge here, which will eventually break the inside of the bag. Always remember to plug in the lights. Otherwise you'll be going down the highway and your blinkers don't work and you'll wonder what the heck happened, then you'll remember. We started at 12 o'clock today with this job and the clock says 3:25, so 3 hours and 25 minutes from start to stop. I still have cleanup to do, but the motorcycle's complete. Take your time. I normally, when I do it by myself and I don't have the camera rolling, I'll take all day. I'll take 7 hours. But for me, I live 40 minutes each way from a dealer, so this is much faster to do it here at home. I hope you've learned something. Even if you don't change your tire, I hope you've learned a lot for just maintenance on your own. So welcome to the Voyagers, and Tom Medina, President of NorCal Voyagers. I thank you for attending this.